Hello and welcome to the Unconventional Ufologist. I don't often do reviews, and I always thought that if I did, I wouldn't be a harsh reviewer. Now, over the years there have been so many books, magazines, films, TV shows and series, documentaries and conferences about the UFO subject that for some, it's literally become a goldmine. Now, I've sat back and seen quite blatant rip-off so-called expose conferences taking money from the public alongside shameless, non-investigated casebooks and badly researched books and TV shows. So now the reason for my review, or possible rant. Roswell has been a bone of contention for many years. Was it an alien spaceship that crashed? Was it a super-secret Project Mogul balloon, Japanese Fugo balloon, secret US aircraft with very small pilots, V-2 rocket tests with shaved chimps? Or simply a hoax? Around 1980 I bought the book The Roswell Incident by Charles Berlitz and William Moore. Not as detailed as all the books that have came afterwards, but certainly one that made me sit up and make notice. I'd been fascinated by the possibility of crash retrieval since Leonard Stringfield had alluded to them in his books, and if you've never read any of Stringfield's books, I suggest that you definitely give them a look-see. No rehashing of old cases, just honest, well-written and well-investigated reporting, and certainly not a source of disinformation, as I believe that probably 50% of books, TV shows, etc. probably are nowadays. Anyway, over the years I read more on Roswell, and from being a one-time staunch believer, I have to say that I probably have now got my foot in both camps of both believer and skeptic, which is difficult. There's probably an argument for both sides, but none are convincing me enough to sway one way or another. So when the series Roswell, the final verdict, was announced, I thought there may be something new here, something kept under the radar, so to speak, because of recent events with the US government's disclosure of videos, etc. Perhaps we were actually getting something, a final something on Roswell. Well, we got something alright, something that for me was the final straw. The premise of the show is this. Again, old footage, old research and experts are wheeled out. Using interviews of those involved, the show uses groundbreaking artificial intelligence lie detection software to bring, and inverted commas here, the truth about Roswell. Actually, it's utter nonsense. An old piece of footage is shown, and then some bad computer graphics and audio analysis graphics are overlaid over the top of the footage, and the narrator then says something like, "The witness was," and there's this huge pause, like watching another set of crummy shows like Jeremy Kyle, X Factor or Long Lost Family episode, until eventually he says, "was telling the truth." And shamefully then, the so-called experts are like, "Oh my god, it's the truth, it's real." It's not, it's awful. I mean, really? Any recent interviews were by people who were told by someone else what they had seen, and most of the older interviews were again people who were told things second hand. But cleverly this was shown pretty much straight off with Jesse Marcel and then Jesse Marcel Jr. Now both of these men I believe saw and handled something strange. What? I don't know, so I would expect any lie detector test to be showing that they told the truth. But can hearsay be classed as evidence, and then backed up with a lie detector? All that could show is that the person receiving the test is being truthful about what they were told, not what they were told was actually true. As an example, say when my daughter was 6 years old and I told her I'd seen a group of fairies at the bottom of the garden dancing in the moonlight, and it was something she remembered quite vividly, me telling her. Now years later, I've popped my clogs and for some reason she's interviewed about fairies and relates my story. She would pass the lie detector test because it was true that I had told her what I had seen. She hadn't observed it herself, which if that question was asked and she had said that she had seen it, then that would be an obvious lie. But the way this show deals with the truth, their computer shows she's telling the truth and that her father had indeed seen fairies dancing in the moonlight. This is a real crappy cash-in on the back of the recent UFO information releases. Not only that, I'm sure I'm not the only one who sees the show what it is in that previous example, and voila, yet another high-profile TV show visibly kicks the legs from under serious investigators and researchers just to make a quick buck. I for one will be staying clear of Roswell until some proof either way is presented, and not in a crap way like this. It really has been done to death, and serious work by people like the late Stanton T. Friedman has just been cast to ridicule. Stay clear of this show, and I never usually say anything like this because I believe we can always learn a little of something from everything, but in this case I will break from tradition avoid it like the plague. See you next time.